Hello, everyone, and welcome to this year's XP League NA Grand Finals. It is 2025, and this year we have some new faces and we have some old faces coming onto the casting desk. As you may know, I am so depressing and I'm so excited to be here casting Fortnite on the desk alongside my co-caster, Rogue Calby.
Hello, hello, everybody. Nice to meet you. I go by Chubbs nowadays for the cast, but I'm excited to be here, and I'm super excited to be casting. It's the beautiful state of Florida. We have all the best teams around in the North American League, and even some from Canada as well, coming down to play in some Fortnite today because we are doing drops 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm excited to see it out, and we can take a looky at the schedule as well for what we're going to be seeing throughout the entire day. Just for tomorrow, though, today is just Fortnite, I believe, is what we're going to be streaming. So super excited to be there as that. We can see Fortnite right around 9 a.m. and Apex Legends coming around for 12 o'clock in the noon. Overwatch at 3 p.m. Rocket League at 5:30 p.m. And of course, Valorant finishing off at 7 p.m. And of course, folks, again, this is all for tomorrow. This is not today. This is all for tomorrow. So these are going to be all the grand final schedules. And stay tuned for this to watch your child play.
Now, of course, it's not an esports event without sponsors, so let's make sure we can get that huge shout out to our wonderful sponsors of the XP League North American Finals 2025. First up is going to be Florida Dairy, the official refuel beverage of the XP League North American Finals. And of course, it's not an esports event without peripherals, right? So this year we have Peripherio, the official PC sponsor of XP League North American Finals. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I am so excited to be coming up this year. We're going to see a lot of Fortnite. There's going to be a lot of action on the screen here coming soon. And, let's talk a little bit about that, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of us know these teams from last year. But, give me a little bit of a breakdown. Who are you looking at specifically this year on the leaderboard?
Well, this morning I went around asking a couple folks, coaches and players, what they feel is like, the big top dogs that are going to be a little bit scary going into the drops. I found, Hydra. Last year they had one Magic Oni Pixel. They were the last year's winner for XP League. They have players like One. They have players like Tiger Shark. They have, oh my goodness, yeah, they have Tiger Shark. They have so many. They have Sizz. That's what's his name, Sizz. They were dominant last year. But there's some other contenders like XO Franklin. You have Ackworth Ghost. A lot of big names coming in for this year.
That's true, and I do remember last year Hydra took it home, and it was an incredible final 3 games from them at the end of that weekend. I remember being up here and being so excited to get to witness not only the gameplay, but the excitement from those players. It was so good to see the parents and each of the other teams kind of cheering each other on and really supporting each other from both the sidelines and in the post-match lobbies too. I know we had a lot of, family members that made it out both last year and this year to support the teams, and it's really, really good to see. I love seeing parents, siblings, even friends of the family coming out to support these kids and making sure that they kind of have all the support in the world. So, but I think that we're getting really close to gameplay, and I am so ecstatic to be able to watch these games because again, these kids are kind of crazy with it.
They're kind of nasty.
I still I don't think I could keep up with any of them in a game,
Oh,
if
no, no,
I'm
no, no.
being honest. So
Like,
we are looking at builds again this year, which is gonna be really
absolutely.
fun. It's a lot to keep track of, you've gotta make sure you've got enough building materials to make it into endgame, you've got enough, health packs and shield potions to make sure that you can get through endgame, and, I know last year we got a lot of in the storm like 1v1s where it was just kind of keeping who could keep alive faster, or longer.
Longer. Yep.
So, those med kits are gonna be really huge. Those bandages are gonna be really huge, to make sure that you have a good arsenal of those in your
Yeah,
back pocket.
absolutely. Funny enough, for XP League last year when I was here watching it, I wasn't a caster. I was a coach for Rocky Mountain. Shout out to Rocky Mountain. Go Grizzlies. But one of the things that's most important is of course, making sure your rotation is solid. And obviously with Fortnite being ever so changing, this year we have crazy new guns, you have, the Veil Scope SMGs, Send Pumps. But here we go. We got some gameplay loaded, ladies and gentlemen. So we are in it, and for all the parents out there, and if you're a coach wondering, this is of course all battle royales, tournament settings, trios, 3 battle royales each day. So this is our first one getting it in.
Yeah, and we do have some new POIs coming into the map this season. So, we have the Supernova Academy, which is personally my favorite POI to drop in right now. I love that a lot. The hero caches that you can find have so
Absolutely.
many high tier items, and I'm very excited to see that. I'm also hoping that we see at least one Sith Jar Jar outfit on the board today. That would be really fun.
I love that.
I was really excited to see that in the shop. So that was really
Yes.
sick. Looks like we're already getting a good I noticed that when we were on the map, there was a lot of variety in where people were dropping
Yeah.
too. So I don't know if we're gonna get a lot of fighting early, kind of round, match one is usually where the players kind of get a feel for how they want to play out the rest of the games. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing how that goes. I'm also liking the outfit synergy on a lot of these players already looking pretty good.
Yeah, usually teams like wearing the same outfit to make sure that they understand, or for for the broadcast as well to see who's who. You can see a couple of umbrellas. Obviously for some of these players getting their wins, going to be flying around all around the map, and slowly but surely, players are going to be getting to these POIs, and it's exciting. It's exciting to see some bigger POIs. Excuse me, are going to be like Supernova Academy. You have Utopia City, Crime City, or Demons Domains. Just a bunch of really really good drops that are probably gonna be a little hot drops. Oh,
Yeah, so, those hot drops are gonna be really interesting to see. I'm looking into seeing the Supernova Academy, and
yeah,
then, obviously the Demon Domain is gonna be probably a lot of the bigger ones because that's where a lot of the higher tier loot's gonna be.
yeah,
So, I think that's where we're gonna see a lot of interactions, kind of combating around equipment. We'll probably see a lot of the eliminations coming down around there too. So, that's gonna be really good, and you wanna get those elims early.
yeah,
Right? You wanna kind of get that early, you wanna get your tier up early too, so everybody, as you saw, I'm sure, starting on C tier, as you go through the game and you improve and you get, those eliminations, you get the item upgrades, you get all that stuff, it's gonna slowly go up, so that's what we wanna see.
yep.
You
It's
can get
the
S tier, that's where you be,
Yeah, it's the
that's where
S
you
tier.
really wanna
That was the
be.
hero, but already a couple kills. We are back with gameplay, folks. And yeah, remember each kill is worth two. Excuse me, every elimination is worth 2 points. So every time you get a knockout and you knock a team, it's 2 points for yourself, and then also you get yourself quite a bit of points when you are getting good placement. First place gets you 62 points, so you definitely want to be for that team there as we get it started up and running, of course. And gotta love it. You can see that players are just mining around, making sure they get all those mats. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Getting a bunch of shotguns, well, and those meds, of course. becoming so vital and important. One thing I do want to mention, the movement this time around. I've asked a lot of players around, and apparently the only two movement items, I guess there's three, is the cape, which turns you into like a bird. There is the surfboard, and then the sprite that lets you boost around gets 3 dashes, but not a lot of movement. So it's a different meta this time around.
Yeah, this meta is definitely one where you have to be really particular about how you're moving around. You got to use these geysers. You've got to kind of maneuver around which movement items you can hold. Because the thing with the cape that turns you into a bird is that if you get the upgraded one that turns you into that full bird, it takes up 2 slots in your backpack. So that's one less slot to hold mats or a weapon in. Unfortunately, that makes it a little more difficult to kind of maneuver around picking up which weapons you want, which ones are going to be priority. So you have to think about that early if you get that. You have to plan around which items can I keep, which items can I let go of, which ones can I throw on my teammates and have them kind of hold. But it does look like we're getting another team caught out here. Looking up on the mountain from the rooftop here, but we are going to see that building up go up really, really quickly. And we're not going to get anything too far down, but those shields are going to get a little lowered on that enemy team, and we are going to see a little bit trying to get the angle here because again, you don't want to be caught out in the middle of nowhere. You don't want to be caught without, the something to cover. You don't want to be caught out without that cover.
One of the things that this location has is, of course, the launch pad. Launch pads everywhere all around. The question is, does this team want to drop on them? It's really early in the game. Obviously, you're still trying to play for placement. If you're in this position, Soda, what are you trying to do? Do you want to play for the placement? It's worth more points. Yes, you get 62, but if you're aggressing for the kills, maybe you can make up in a little bit of placement for these kills. Eliminations.
I will say that pushing for eliminations is going to be really, really big for sure, because that's where a lot of your points are going to come from outside of placements. So if you can get more eliminations early, that's kind of what you want to look for, because that means that you're going to have that safeguard of points despite your placements. So if you don't place super high, but you're getting a lot of those eliminations, that's going to be huge for you in the long run. So that's going to, I think a lot of what I'm going to be trying to focus on early though is getting those materials, because you don't want to be, caught in the middle of nowhere with no cover. That's going to be a huge thing. If you have no cover, you're going to probably get gunned down pretty quickly. So that's going to be huge.
Yeah, of course. And we have our Catwoman squad, I believe, running it down the river, and cat in water. Got a cat in the water, trying to swim up river, getting out and up and running. And there's a lot of action that's been happening, but of course, teams right now, this is the North American Finals. You don't want to be knocked out too quickly, but honestly, this water may not be the spot that you want to be in. And of course, you can see the movement is so important. I believe that is the meta. You're going to have an AR, you're going to have a shotgun, and then you need some sort of movement to make sure that you are rotated out. Maybe 2 heals, maybe you have some shield pots, maybe some med kits, bandages if you need to use them. And it's a lot. It's a lot to think about, and of course some chug jugs as well. And you can see that there's that automatic shotgun that this Catwoman squad is running, getting themselves, that twin fire. It's that automatic with 14 bullets, and it's hard to use, in my opinion. I think that gun is not the one that I would be. But, of course, trying to find their rotation in, as, again, silence across the board.
Yeah, and I think that's a lot of what this first map is going to be a lot of trying to avoid those fightings, trying to get to those placements, but also trying to avoid being on the low ground because of all those little high ledges where people can look down and kind of get those shots out on you really quickly. But it looks like we may be tuning into a little bit of a tussle here. Ooh. So already seeing a lot of that chugging going down, making sure that your shields are up.
Yeah, of course, and the builds are going to be coming out real quickly, and the AR spam is in, making sure that they are able to get rid of these walls, trying to get this elimination as soon as possible. A heal is in, and everything is indeed green, getting out. And you can see the mechanics from these players, but knocked out already. And here is another player down and out and looted.
Yeah, and I mean, again, that's just a situation where you really need to make sure that you have your position prioritized. You don't want to be caught out away from your team. You don't want to be caught out walled off from your team, especially if you're using brick or metal to get those walls up, because while those are going to be harder for the enemy to break, it might also be a little bit more difficult for you to maneuver around if you have these multiple walls between you and your teammates separating you out. You don't want that to happen. You don't want to be too far separated. Obviously, it's a good thing if you want to try and take the focus away from your teammates if they're trying to heal, if they're trying to shield up. You want to take that focus off of them and kind of pull that attention to you. But you have to be careful doing that because if you go down and your team is down a player and is in a 2v3 scenario, is in a 1v3 scenario, and that's just not the position you want to be in.
This redhead squad running around. You can see those sprites right around them. This is the movement that the other sprite, the little orange sprites. And obviously, if you start snowballing, you start getting more of these eliminations. You start getting team knocks. You get the heals from their previous team, and you're just going to keep snowballing more and more. And then you get more and more points, and you get the placement points as well as we do the game menu. But that's all right. A little HUD, and they're taking the launch pad. The rotation is so important. You can hear the pings as well. We're dropping here, and this is what the teams need to have to make sure that they have, good coordination where we're landing, and they have to have trust. That's one thing. Trust in these teams is so important to make sure that you are covered on with the side that you believe. Have trust in your teammates to win the fights that they need to.
Yeah, and again, it all comes down to positioning. Genuinely, you don't want to be in the worst position in a team fight. You don't want to be in the worst position for a potential pinch. The last thing you want is to be in a fight with somebody else and to have somebody come up behind you. You always want to have someone making sure that you guys are covered from the back and from the front to make sure that you're not going to get hit by an unexpected team. That's one of the worst things, is when you're already locked into a fight and then all of a sudden you've got 3 people on your flank and your teammate on the flank is already down because he was part of the fight in the front. That's never a fun experience, and it's always gonna end up turning the tide in the enemy's favor because now you're down a player. Now the team in front of you can come in, push up, and take advantage of the position you're now in.
Oh, and indeed the storm is coming in. Need to make sure, this is the one thing I said, is the rotation. You don't want to be behind a team, but maybe it could work in your favor if you are following in front of, trying to get this knock here. Looking for it. There is a bit of gunfire. Of course, sliding on over, trying to play super stealthily, making sure that you're not being a very loud noise. But of course, you have to think about the third parties. When you start a fight, you have to finish it quickly, or there is another team that is nearby and that will capitalize. And obviously this ponytailed, is that a pony? No, what are they called?
Pigtails.
Pigtails. Ah, the pigtail team. Well, there you go. Loading into a different squad though. What's going to be checking out here? Back to the redheads.
Yeah, and this is one of those things as well where you mentioned positioning and rotations. Early game, it's not going to be so bad, right? There's going to be plenty of players around the map. The storm isn't going to do as much damage to you.
Oh, wow.
You're going to be able to play a little bit in that storm. This is really good positioning from Jimmy.
This is a crazy, this is a,
what a sneaky play.
yeah, what a sneaky, you have 2 teammates over there on top tunnel and this guy right here hiding in the corner. A team comes in here, they're gonna be squished on both sides. I mean, are they waiting for the porta potty though? Maybe
I think they might be. I think that might be the play here. Now you guys may remember last year a little bit of the punning that went into Jimmy, because last year Jimmy was using the fish outfit quite a lot and he's a pretty slippery guy. So I'm really excited to kind of see how he plays this. Obviously it's kind of in a slippery position right now where he's, a little bit hidden, can't really be seen from inside the tunnel. So he's keeping an eye on that porta potty. But it does look like we're going to see a little bit of movement here, rotating a little bit further into the safe zone. So, we'll see how this goes. I don't know. I was kind of expecting and hoping a little bit that somebody was going to hop out of there. I was hoping to see some action right there.
To see some action, then you can see.
But,
I heard
but
gunfire.
I heard gunfire though.
Uh-oh. I don't know. Maybe. I hear builds and have everything in the background, but maybe they are fighting somebody in this tunnel. But as we take a look at the map, and again, there are 2 teams here fighting, I believe. So loading into them.
Yeah, there were a couple, teams in the storm too, still trying to get the rotation into the safe zone without getting caught out, which is going to be huge.
Yeah.
And a little scary. I'm not going to lie, running into this many teams, I mean, this is the same thing we saw last year, right? We see a lot of teams still alive, moving into the second and third, circle. It's crazy because these kids are some of the best players that we've seen. And it's, I can't imagine how much pressure it is to try and stay in that storm just long enough so you don't get picked out, but not so long that you put yourself in a detrimental position once you get back into the zone.
Yeah, and I mean, when you come here to a land, something like this, it's scary. You got to make sure that you don't have a lot of pressure on you. You need to play as normal as you did because you got here for a reason, and it was by playing your normal game. You have to make sure you don't change anything up. It is we are in North American finals, and of course, all the best squads here from all around the North and North America. So it's exciting to see. Really, really excited to see.
And this is another team we got a good look at last year is J-Bone, Shark, and Diamond. They were really, really good last year too. There was a lot of action that they got to be a part of. There was a lot of interactions, both on and off the game, that we saw. So it's really exciting to see them back yet again for another year. But we are going to switch over to Squid, Godly, and Mr. Strawberry because they do seem to be in a little bit of a potential tussle. There's a little bit of action going on here. Squid already down to 70 HP with no shields. Gonna have to get those shields up using the little pots. But Godly's down.
Oh no.
Godly's already down. So this is a 2v3 scenario, and those walls are coming down fast.
You lose your teammate, and now you're probably going to lose another Squid in the storm. Needs to use this med kit and about to be eliminated out. Mr. Strawberry now caught in the storm, but playing it quietly, doesn't want to be revealed yet. And of course, like I said, that cape going to be one of the only movements that you have here in the storm. You can see, look at those pluses on the map, and they are maybe looking a little bit rough. Squid, though, fully healed and trying to get back into the fight. And Shark and Diamond are down. J-Bone running away. And I think you might lose these two. You got to get them.
Yeah, I mean, this is a scenario where J-Bone's going to have to rotate out. It's just not safe for him to try and make a play here, but that's going to be Lunax's team on the other side watching this go down, and Mr. Strawberry and Squid are going to do their best to get out of this storm, get into a position where they can get the advantageous, top view from this little hillside without losing too much HP and shielding themselves. They're going to try and get this little recovery process going. But again, they're taking shots. This is not the best place to be right now. You're already low. Your shields are already down. You're fighting enough as it is, just getting out of that storm that, it might be a little bit rough.
A little bit rough indeed. As he's still a lot of people still left in these final circles, and I mean, it's hard. People are playing their life out, and of course, when the fights are going to be happening, there's going to be builds. It's everything. You're cranking your 90s. You're making sure, and of course, the storm surge is doing damage to everybody. And sniped out Ash Spin gets a little bit of damage, and you got to be careful of this storage turn, man. It's doing damage to everybody, and look at that, man.
Yeah, that's something that you really want to make sure that you
Oh, no.
are also paying attention to. Is that storm surge is not your friend. It might be your friend when you're not below the threshold, but when you are below that threshold, it's not your friend. And we just saw why as Valen's team is completely wiped out because that storm surge did so much damage, and you're also getting sniped from 300 meters away.
Yeah, it's pressure from all sides, even from the game itself. So it is no joke around here in North American finals. As you can see, Milky, I'll just say Milky. Getting there with Kappa, just mining out, getting more resources to make sure they have builds in the rotation. You can see teams are flying by from above. Minnow and Trevor's Loves trying to get shot down. Sleuth building wall after wall, losing. And again, this is 10 material per wall. You're losing quite a bit. You need to make sure you get out of there with that rifle. And yeah, I mean, slowly but surely, we have around 8 teams here just kind of boxed up and in a corner. You'd want to play your life out, but there's so much pressure. You don't want to be in the center of it all, but look at where the circle is. It is a pressure, and Evori is sus, gets killed out and ran out, man. You just can't do anything about that. Just the pressure from all squads giving in eliminated.
Yeah, and this is one of those positions where it's really scary being underneath both of these teams. You see Trixie go down here, and Drizon is trying to stay up there with Zeno, trying to get Trixie back up, but they are going to get knocked down through the floor as Drizon going to get taken down, and that's the whole team yet again wiped out by Kappa.
They didn't realize that it wasn't their floor, and they got edited down and then eliminated. That's so unfortunate, but what a play. Genius, knowing that knowledge of, hey, this is my floor. We can eliminate them right here.
And that is going to put Kappa's team back above that threshold as well, because now they've done more damage. They don't have to worry about that storm surge as much right now.
And look at the circle is starting to merge back in its way to the storm, and this is going to start getting really scary for a lot of these teams. And you can see health bars are being out, and you can see over there, I can see my squad, Grizzly, go Grizzlies, and they're hiding over there. Aqua on the right side there, but hey, you know what? One here. Ooh.
One is already taking a lot of damage, sitting at 15 HP and 0 shields. Magic's also pretty down, but Pixel's already down. Already out for the count.
One is a part of this Hydra squad, so this is our Hydra team. And look, we only have 2 people remaining. You know, good vibes, Pixel, out.
Yeah, and you know, Magic and One are coming up on this team. Really scary a little bit. Had the high ground is going to go for the lower play, though, which, you know, in this situation, not the worst idea because there are so many teams around you. But, okay, the Superman squish, I love him, but that is going to be One out because of the storm edge.
Hydra is out. Ost Texas no longer in the team. And Summer LM7, you can see the squad Barracuda needs to make sure they build. Don't get eliminated by that storm. But of course, like I said, the pressure, you need to be building with mats. And look how many mats Barracuda has left. All wood, a little bit of metal, and 160 mats. Oh no, man, your squad is really low on some of these. And of course, the storm shift once more. The circle is now starting to be get down. And this is where we start seeing teams leave.
Now, this is a scary spot to be in because you see there are like 5 teams just sitting around Reaper's team, and this is a squad that has you know, 1 elimination among them, but they are above that damage threshold, which is really good. They don't, you know, you don't want that storm surge damage to kind of change the trajectory of a team fight, right? So this is a good spot. You know, I think we might see another play where, you know, you have the floor above you is yours and you can just edit people down.
They're moving with it.
Might be a good job, you know?
They are moving with that storm because they had the rotation coming in. And you can see some of the teams that were more far out are now going to be having to rotate. You can see squads starting to leave our lobby as there is more and more motion. Ruski, these one, you can see the fights with Tiger. They're just trying to run. I mean, nobody wants to fight, really. Motion Gino giving out a couple warning shots, but of course, you know, trying to be a little bit low-key about it. 32 health remaining, trying not to get knocked. The shield needs to come out, but Motion Ruski knocked down over there by the rocks, trying to hide himself in between them.
See, and this is kind of what I'm talking about with the dangers of being on low ground, right? Is if there's a sniper on a high ledge, you're cooked.
You're cooked?
You're cooked.
You're cooked. Can't do anything about it. You're cooked. And Motion Gino, yeah, just nothing. Yeah. You had the storm coming in, and that goes. There goes our mission. The motions.
No. Going through the motions for sure.
Yeah.
As we are going to swap over to Ollie, Jack Attack, and Beetle, who are kind of in a similar position to a couple of the other teams we've seen, where they're kind of on the low, trying to rotate through the storm. Now, see, I like this tactic. Doing the edit to be able to kind of look through the walls without bringing them down completely. That's a tactic that I really love seeing in these games. But we see the damage threshold at a real, you know, they're pretty high above the threshold. They're not going to have to worry too much about Storm Surge right now.
Yeah.
They're going to be able to kind of look to see which teams are taking a lot of damage, maybe try and get some picks in and out of there. That's going to be really what we want to see from them, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of, you know, take advantage where you can, but don't put yourself in too dangerous of a situation. With this damage threshold, you know, having that 800, 900, 1,000 above, you have the opportunity to really take those advantageous positions and push these fights.
And you can see now the rotation needs to come in. All squads are now going to be all out. There's going to be builds everywhere. The map does not exist no more. We are back in box fights, essentially. And now we're going to start seeing some more teams get knocked out. And there's a sky base we kind of have over there in the top side. But Ollie Otter starting to get shot out, needs to be with his team. And you can see the materials. You need to have a lot of mats in this towards end. And they're going to be moving along with the storm, making sure that the storm surge is not going to eliminate them. So you can see the capes, the crows flying away straight up to the Shogun's palace. And this is a great place to be. You know, there's a lot of corridors here that you can hide around, you know, the top area. But you need to make sure you build and survive. You know, you have to path your way.
Yeah, and you know, as you're building, this is a spot where you can kind of build, collect for those mats. Because, you know, the last thing you want in these end game fights is to run out of mats completely.
Uh-oh.
That is detrimental, but we do see the Velix coming up. He's in the building. That is not something that, oh my goodness, he's getting really close too. You know, that's something that's a really scary scenario to be in. You know, Ollie obviously has his team with him, but Phoenix might not.
Might not, no. And it's an interesting situation to be in because now it's moving back the other way, and there's only a couple squads left here. 32 people remaining,
Foxy
according to
JJ
us.
solo. We see a couple of solos here, right? We see
Yeah.
Foxy JJ is currently solo because Easy and Superstar have gone down. They have, they had 4 elims among the team, which is great. And, hopefully Foxy can kind of keep the top score on the leaderboard, but we see so many teams still up. I don't know if I see a full squad. I think I see one
Maybe one
on the map right now, but
It's
it looks
just-
like it's mostly solos and duos left over. And this is where we're going to see a lot of the action, right? We're going to see a lot of that constant infighting. And, Foxy's making really smart choices here, right? Break, replace, break, replace. Make sure that it's your
Your stuff.
walls and your stairs and your floors that are being put around here so that you don't potentially fall into the trap of being edited through the floor, right?
And I know you can see, I know Easy and Superstar are rooting for Foxy to stay hidden, move with the storm, and you see there's fighting, and you move amongst the chaos. The chaos hides you. Foxy JJ getting out slowly but surely. Okay, sure, and maybe has been found out and maybe played your cards a little bit too early and a little bit too far, but once again, hidden amongst the chaos. There's so many fights happening amongst every squad here, and so many eliminations. And slowly but surely, we find our final team here.
Yeah, and we see Milky and Kappa's team
Oh!
really popping off here, but we got the knockdown from Foxy JJ onto Sizzles, and that is going to give him more mats to work with.
More mats along. That storm is doing quite a bit of damage, though. Foxy JJ again moving up with that crow onto some platforms here, some cones. Again, just moving with it. He's playing this to a T. I mean, we've been watching this person for for the past couple minutes, but spotted out some more, and oh my goodness, it's chaos everywhere. You can find a team, you'll see it. Foxy JJ run with the crow run. And
Foxy cannot take any damage at this moment in time because if he does, it's out. It's out. But we see here, I mean, he's back to 50 shields. He's almost back to 100 HP. He has the med kits to work with.
oh my goodness, on Beetle as well.
Oh.
Foxy JJ is still running amok amongst all of these people, getting elimination after elimination. And again, the edits, the builds, you need to stay consistent with it.
He's just an absolute menace with this pump shotgun, man. It's absolutely insane. But we see Clark, Frosty, and Vaxify are still together. There are 2 full squads left. There's Minnow's squad, and then, it's a lot. It's a lot going on right now.
Look at all the buildings, man. The map doesn't exist anymore. It is seriously just a box fight, and Twitch speed needs to get out, and they're just still rotating. They're still thinking. That's something you need to think about. Still with the storm, and you can see Aqua eliminated to, Mr. Small Fries, Pangs is washed. He eliminated every single squad here slowly but surely. We're getting it out, and maybe
Felix getting off onto Pancake Ninja as well, which is crazy work. Pancake Ninja had just gotten an elim right before that too. So we see Superstar go down. We see Dojian go down. We see Clark go down to Mr. Six. Mr. Six is not taking it. He is not taking survivors. He is absolutely pushing this. He said, I am going to be at the very end of this game, even if Speed can't get, but he is going to land right on top of somebody and needs to be very, very careful fighting Frosty in the air as Frosty's going to try and get away.
the storm is closing down slowly but surely, and he is going to heal. Make sure you get the shields up, but people are shooting from below. You need to make sure you have 3 medkits here, and you could maybe survive in the storm. Oh my goodness, Mr. Six, have you done it? Have you done the play? You're still following along, but following up is Sleuth. You need to fight him, and down goes 2 shotgun shells to the chest, and Mr. Six is healing. Of course, that storm is doing so much damage, but trying to outlive it. Will it be Mr. Six for our win? It might be a heal off. Oh my goodness. We have a heal off. Mr. Six in the calm. Minnow versus Mr. Six. And they're just healing. He's looking. They're
You've
looking
heard,
for each other.
there's the calm before the storm, but this is the calm in the storm, and this is where it really, really matters because
my
you do
gosh.
not want to waste these medkits.
And he got
that
it!
is gonna
That's
be
gonna be-
Mr. Six taking that victory royale in this heal off. I thought
Wow.
Minnow could have done it, but it really just comes down to the timing. It really, really does. The timing on when you use those medkits, the percentage of health you have left when you're using those medkits in those final moments, those are going to be detrimental to who wins those heal offs, right? You don't want to be the person that I remember last year we had somebody accidentally drop their med kit because they started running, and it was their
Oh,
last med kit, and that's what lost them the heal off. And it's those situations where it's on the second of when you start, you have to be so precise in knowing when to start, when you can safely stop. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's really who started first, who has more.
to think that our final elimination wasn't even a person. It was the environment that is going to knock you, and you have to think about that. The rotation and oh my goodness, to see that the rotation, he's like, okay, I'm gonna play this storm, and I have 3 medkits, I'm gonna heal, right? To make that call, it truly some ice, and ended with 8 eliminations. So that's still around 16 points. So you get first 62, and then you get 18. You're around what 80? Yeah, that's around 80-ish points there.
Something
So
like that.
that's a lot. That's a lot to begin with, and that's great. If you're one of those final teams in those final circles, you get quite a lot bit of points. You have that security, and you understand that, hey, I'm not out of the tournament yet, and I wasn't knocked out that early. You have to think, you have to have that ice. You need to make sure that you have nothing but, composure.
Yeah, and like you were saying, the composure is it can be so scary being in the storm, right? Because your health is ticking away super fast. You have to have precise timing on when you're using med kits. You have to have precise timing on when you kind of have to know or anticipate when other people are using their med kits, especially in a 1v1 like that. We saw Minnow's health really low, and then Mr. Six was just able to take it a little bit further, right? And that's kind of the scary thing. The really scary thing about Storm is how unpredictable it can be if you aren't sure of the timings.
Yeah, and to watch our squads and Mr. Six go back one way and then right on the map and then left on the map. And like at that point, the POIs don't even exist. It is just builds, and you have to make sure, is this my wall? That's not my wall. I gotta break that wall. You are constantly rotating around. And to have a full squad is great, but you're always gonna be relying on one person nearly towards the end. And it's crazy to see that we had nothing but chaos into calm. Great calm and just heals. It's incredible to see. But that was only game 1, folks. We still have game 2 and 3 coming up here. But yeah, I mean, we will be back with game 2 shortly, right after this break. We'll be seeing you soon here right after this. Ugh,
Are we clear?
Garrett, Garrett.
Well, look at that. We are back, hopping off the battle bus into map 2.
Oh
I
yeah.
am so excited. We already see quite a few people going to Shoguns and Canyon already. We got what, 5 teams over there. We're all straight on to Mr. Six, right? Mr.
Straight up.
Six took the win in match 1.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see how it goes in match 2. We got Cartier, Speed, and Mr. Six all alive right now.
Yeah.
Great things. Great things happening.
Great
No
things
eliminations yet, but this is going to be the time to kind of gather mats, gather weapons, gather, health stuff. Got to get everything. You know what I mean? You got to get everything.
Yeah, we are back in the looting phase, and there is a nice legendary chest there for them.
Look at the little SMG.
Getting
I
a
love
nice
seeing the
purple
SMGs.
SMG, and parents at home, if you don't know the difference in like the color and like what they do, it's just more damage. I'm pretty sure it's just more damage for each weapon, so you're able to get that elimination a little bit faster. And
There are also add-ons like accessories,
like scopes.
Some of them have scopes and suppressors and
able
stuff
to do all
like
that stuff. Yeah, so there's different little variety in there if you're confused at home. And of course, this game is indeed hard to understand, and it's all fast. So just understand that this is a battle royale style game. A lot of people dropping out. 96 people. Oh, we already have an elimination happening.
Yeah,
Onyx and Tetum.
Tronics is down.
And
Cade Meister and Logs gonna be coming up. Gonna have to try and get to Tronics, but I mean, Tronics feels like he's a little bit out of the place. But Lunan's walking around in that sewer a little bit.
He's hiding.
A little bit, I can't lie, that's a little spooky. We're in Flooded Frogs, so this is an area with a lot of coverage, but not quite enough because there are so many ways to get into different places. So we see Cade is kind of holding it down, watching. Make sure that Low can get Tronics up. But again, they are going to hear it, and Summer's going to drop down, but Summer's going to take a lot of damage here immediately. But that is going to be Cade also taking a lot of damage straight down to 90. Oh, he's going to get knocked almost immediately too, but that's going to leave Cade just barely getting out and, putting some damage out with him, but he is going to get rushed down. But that knock is going to go down on Summer. This shotgun, man, this pump shotgun, we've been seeing a lot of damage output with it in the last couple of fights, but we see Barracuda's right on top of him. Lunan is going to try and drop down. This is going to be a 2v1 scenario here. Cade is going to try and get some damage out. He's going to get the knock on Barracuda with that SMG, but he's going to try and push up. Luna's waiting for him on the roof, and that is going to be Cade out. Oh my goodness. See, that's the difference. Having shields versus only having a little bit of HP.
I thought he was about to get the triple. And here we have Skib Aqua. This is right here is Grizzly, and this is my team. I used to coach these kids right here, but here they are just in Demon's Domain by themselves here, surprisingly, since that is one of our more hot POIs. There's nobody else here. So this is quite an advantage. You can see they have that mythic, and that's a good weapon to have. Get some good eliminations. That is indeed one of the mythics that at least that you can get, and this is some great loot. One of the things that these kids are going to be trying to do, trying to get that fast rotation, play your life out, and I know their mechanics, I know their capability. They can definitely take this home if they play it correctly.
They are, they're going to want to get, as we get closer to, first circle being closed in, we're going to see these kind of outliers, the ones at First Order, the ones at Resistance. They're going to have to start pushing in, and they're going to have to be really careful with these rotations. But we already see another fight on the board, which Mav, Booba, and Mongoose fighting Mr. Strawberry's team. They do look to have the high ground, but they are going to have to destroy a lot of built structure to try and get in here. But we see Mr. Strawberry and Squid kind of hidden together, a little squared away right here. But Mav is going to come down and try and start breaking these walls. But that is going to be metal mats going down. And those are the ones you don't want to lose a lot of early. But that's going to be Mav and Buva kind of pushing up, being aggressive, being the aggressors here. And, that's going to give them a lot of advantage because we see Godly taking a lot of damage. Godly is going to go down to Squid and Mongoose, but Mongoose is going to try and push in here and take out Squid and Strawberry, but that is not going to be enough. Squid is going to go down. Squid is going to go down completely. Mav is going to wipe out Squid, clear that out. Godly's going to go down to Buva as well. And Mr. Strawberry is going to have to really fight here to try and get out to keep his team in the running so that they don't lose out on placements. But Strawberry is going to get pushed by the full squad here, and he is going to go down. That's going to be the full wipe on Strawberry's squad.
Strawberry out of the game, and we saw this team go very far for that first game one, and just unfortunately got knocked out really early on here. And still we have 28 squads left, 81 people, and again, it may be this is just the calm before the storm, and we are waiting for those final circle moments right now. You should be looting, you should be getting, but one of the key things, again, try to get as many knocks as possible before that circle, because you're playing safe. You're playing keeps away
It
when you're there.
looks like there might be some action going down in the river near Utopia City as well, which is
Ooh.
kind of crazy work. But we're going to see One, Magic, and Good Vibes seeing what just went down with Mongoose and Mav, and they're going to try and push in here. Maybe try and get some fakes out. That is going to be Mav taking 47 damage off a rip. That's going to be half your shields down.
And the Hydras do it, man. They're going to be trying, and down they go, running away, and they just came out of a fight, and they're going to say, no, we can't take this one right now. And One and the squad, I don't think they're going to try to chase maybe fully unless they hunker down here. So looking for maybe a little bit of some shots with that DMR, and they may be closing in on them. Buva and them now are fully healed back up. So One and them hiding in this bubble, but they know, and this is indeed, I didn't know, even though there was a basement down here, but there is a underground apartment here. And look at this, behind the tree he goes.
They're going to keep trying to get these mats. The metal is going to be the one that's going to... For those watching at home that don't know, metal is going to be the strongest material that you can build out of, but it is going to be the slowest builder. So wood is going to be the fastest to get structures up with, but it's going to be the weakest. So it's going to be able to take the least amount of damage before going down fully. So you're going to have to replace it very, very fast. So you would want a lot of wood in your inventory pretty early on, a lot of brick in your inventory pretty early on. But, the metal is going to be that strongest material. So it's going to be the one that you want to save. Right? It's going to be the one that when you're in those 1v1s, you want to have them. But it looks like Magic is taking on some shots here. I'm going to try and get this little bit of an angle on. Oni's going to come from the left side out of left field. Try and get some damage onto this boss here as well to try and get the loot off of that, which is going to be really nice. Oh, look at that. We got two capes.
We got two capes. Hey, capes is exactly what you need in order to make sure that movement. You can see, you remember Mr. Six using that crow to make sure that he flies into the rotation, making sure that he gets to the next circle. So, capes definitely very, very vital for that movement as the Hydras, get some more loot in. And now, again, you can see so much spread out amongst all teams. YouTube, Mr. Ollie here. And with Mr. Gearzoid, Robot Destroyer. Some good names, real good names. Love how unique all some of these names are,
Yeah, they're very creative.
Very creative, very creative.
I see again, we're seeing that use of the edit mode to kind of see out of the corners and see out of the angles without actually putting yourself in too much danger. So again, I really like that tactic because it gives you information without giving too much information away, which is what you want. You really want that, especially in open fields, where there are a lot of high angles around you, but not really where you are. So we are going to swap over to Ghoul and Sparkly, our Sparkly Princesses, 1 and 2. We're going to swap over to them. They are right on the edge of this storm, so they are with quite a lot of people over here. But, this is, again, we have the sprites. We have the sprites to get a little boost of movement speed on all of them.
Uh-oh.
And Sparkly, too.
They are in the storm.
It's going to be right underneath Elvis and King.
Kyle. This is nerve-wracking because there's so many squads here in the storm. I mean, you're taking damage. You're taking
Just focused.
away. And if you start healing, that's noise. So
yeah, you got to stay focused. Scary. You got to stay locked in. You know what, though? I like this tactic, too. Right? Is like locking yourself into a little bit of a triangle.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people, they're not even going to think about it, right? They're going to run past and go, oh, it's a structure that was reused, earlier. Nobody's just going to be sitting underneath that right now, but that's where they'd be wrong. That's where they'd be wrong.
One thing I used to tell my team and my kids is like, hey, you do all these builds, but you're like a loud target. You make yourself known when you're building so much. So why take the fight to you when you can just let them come to you? Wait around, make sure you play calm. Sometimes when you're staying hidden, that's how that's how you sometimes get a dub. Play lame, win games. So
absolutely
don't go all crazy. Sometimes different tactics obviously being used here at the North American Finals as we slowly but surely get the rotation.
I'm seeing a lot of these pump shotguns.
Yeah, a lot of them. I mean,
honestly, this season is the season for pump shotguns. The damage output is incredible. People are fighting up close a lot because of the little sprites that we have around the map, like the Superman sprite, right? With the laser eyes, and you just like shoot at everybody. It's crazy.
Laser eyes and all, it's crazy. Little Superman sprite.
We do
They're
see
so cute.
Sage of Six Paths team kind of converging with motion here. I don't know if Gino saw him. Gino might have just seen the tail end of him going around that bamboo setup. But again, they're already on the other side, so they might be safe here. We might see a little bit of action, but we're seeing on the map right now, they're kind of converging together. Now, we definitely see Sage
Oh yeah.
and his team, Condog, Moo. We see them over there.
Oh,
Gino not taking the shot just yet, but he is going to
there it
now.
is.
Moo is going to take a lot of damage to his shields. He's about halfway down. Not ideal, but not the worst place to be in.
Yeah, not the worst place to be in. Get running out and get half your shields in through. But I think Motion Squad here is going to be chasing. Yeah, you could hear the shots being fired, trying to eliminate this squad running away. But they are posting up here towards the edge, and you can see that water is looking a little scary, afraid of heights, and they're just posting up here. Condog might be caught out here. Caught swimming with the fishes.
a little bit caught out right there, but they are going to start building over there in the corner, kind of away from the island, which is an interesting tactic for sure. Because you're stepping away from all of the potential danger of people ziplining in and catching you off guard. But this is also a weird angle to be in because we just saw a team behind Gino, right? That Gino spotted. And that's kind of why he hesitated a little bit, kind of watched that team, made sure they were going on. But they could, at any point, really, turn around if they hear the gunfire. So here we do see, again, Gino taking these shots. They are going to swim to safety. Sage leading the charge away.
What a funny sight to see. Just a bunch of Fortnite characters swimming away, going to start building as well because, the shots are indeed connecting. Players here didn't make it to North American Finals on bad aim, I'll tell you that. So they definitely can hit their shots. So
gotta get that cover
gotta get that cover
really, really fast. I mean, already looking at the map, we're already getting a little congested here around the middle, but we see maybe a little bit of a kerfuffle coming around the map where Ruby and Gino are kind of headed toward. So we see up on the mountaintop, there's a couple of teams just kind of watching, waiting, miserating. We see Radical, Henry, and Grayson kind of just sitting around, waiting. They're pushing through. We're seeing this tunnel again where Jimmy had a little bit of a sneaky tactic, but I don't think Jimmy's here right now. Yeah, we don't see him. He's not here. We're good. But there is a squad pushing through on the other side. Looks like it's Trixie and Zeno's team. And then there's another squad. Oh, this is about to get real exciting. There's a lot. And, we see some knocks around the map, right? Straticus just went down. Valen just went down. Kirk just went down.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening right now, Beetle, Ollie, and Jack, they're kind of in a good spot right now. They're a little spread out, but it's nothing too detrimental. They are, Beetle taking a couple shots here and there, but he is going to be able to get his shields back up pretty quickly. It's got, 6 minis, 3 big pots, so I'm not too worried about him right now. He doesn't have any medkits or bandages, though, so that might be a little bit difficult later on. They are kind of pushing through the storm as well, so that's a little bit scary. We do see Ollie with the chug jug, though. So that's not too bad.
Go, Mr. Sprite. Go, give us boost. Boom, boom.
That boost going.
Such a cute little thing. I can't believe that we sacrificed these sprites for loot. I think it's so sad. They're so cute. I would never sacrifice my sprite.
No, but we do see a lot of people kind of congregating into Canyon Crossing.
Ooh, yeah.
So that's a lot going on there. And now we see Foxy JJ and Melky.
Yeah.
So Ivori, Melky, Kappa kind of trying to keep a little bit of, cover between them, Foxy JJ, Easy, and their whole team. But it may not be enough because we see now Superstar is kind of pushing up on the right. Foxy is up in front. And Easy is kind of with him, but again, this is where, you got to keep building. As it gets broken, you build. As it breaks, you build. You break, you build. And Kappa and Melky are in a really fun spot, but not so fun for them.
Things could get a little ugly here as you are getting pressure from all sides of the squad from Superstar. And, some shots connecting as you are down in shield. Gonna have to pop a little bit of small pots here, and you can hear them running all around them, Foxy, JJ, and them all. But I don't know. I think they may try to rotate out of here and just watch the boxes, make them think that they're safe and try to get out. So you see the spirit has. Yeah, I think that is the play. Make them force them into use. You can see the back blings with the skibbity toilet.
Yeah, and we see Easy, Superstar, and Foxy are not going to let them out without a fight. They are watching every angle possible, and they are going to take some shots now. And it looks like a lot of those shots are connecting as we see Ivori is almost down. Ivori has so little HP left, and these ARs this season are so scary.
And those revolvers.
It takes so little time. Ivori is going to try and heal up. There is another squad coming around on the right side as Easy is going to start rotating, try and get some more mats going. And we see Trixie. Trixatello is over there on the bridge with their squad, trying to get a little bit of an angle maybe. Try not to get caught out, though. That's a big scary thing, especially when you're using bridges, because you never know. You never know who's watching. You never know who might be kind of moving in, rotating around. We do still see a lot of teams in Canyon Crossing, right? There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and another team coming in.
Yeah, another team coming in as well as Canyon Crossing. Indeed, such a hot drop. BTL Cartier looking around. Radical Shay is unlimited by Mr. Ghoul. And of course, healing it out. You need to make sure, and this is going to be start where the builds are going to be, at rampant.
This is so interesting to me because we see Mr. Six and Minnow in the same spot yet again.
Yeah, back in again.
But Mr. Six again has the high ground in this situation too, and we see a lot of that brick coming out, trying to get as many angles as possible to get some, some vision down, maybe a little bit of cover from behind, so you're not getting, shots from the mountain behind you. You're also not taking shots from below you because you're kind of all over the place. But Drizzen and Trixie and Xeno all kind of trying to do a similar thing, but instead of getting the high ground, they're maintaining the low ground perspective.
Yeah, I mean, being hidden as well underneath. I mean, we saw Mr. Six play that where if you're underneath everything, you're hidden. And I mean, high ground is good, but when you're hidden amongst the chaos, it could be even better. So you can see making sure they're staying close to the ground, but maybe getting a little bit hiked here onto motion as slowly but surely they're mining away. And I don't know if they hear motion here. I think Trixie knows though, but as we move on to Thundery Yard, Fortnite. Oh, and just eliminate a beetle. Out he goes.
That is good. As well, Gearzoid and Ichigo Star and Tiger in Paradise all going down. Vaxify going down. Tiger in Paradise actually getting fully eliminated as well. And Thunderyard, Velix, and Reaper are kind of trying to maintain this perspective that they have, this angle that they have on everybody, but they're going to have to be really careful with the storm so close. Because again, we're getting to that point where the circle is so small already that it's just going to get really congested. We already see it's starting to kind of get a little crazy, kind of get a little spooky.
And one of the things is that you're trying to predict where it is. Oh, but there's a fight going on here. Motion, Roski, Xeno, Kame here. Looking around, the builds are all out. And Motion is indeed down. You're down a teammate. One and the squad are here, and they are here for business, trying to knock everybody. Minnow is on below, and Motion just crawling, trying to get away. There's nothing you can do here. You're going to get knocked eventually, and the team can see you. Grizz on now. You can see the edits. It's like you're back in the box fights here. Now there goes Motion Brewski. And again, you got to make sure these walls are yours. There's so much noise, there's so much chaos, but amongst it all, there's nobody really getting knocked out yet. Eliminations may be coming soon. And one of the things is, like I said, if you rotate it to the left side of this circle, now you're going to start seeing that, oh my goodness, now we have to go back right and back left. And you got to make sure that you have a copper here as well. Need to heal up these small, and they're going to take this Sprite here. They're going to try to get out, I'm pretty sure, for the rotation.
And we have just hit Storm Surge as well. So these teams now not only have to focus on avoiding the storm, they also have to focus on making sure they're getting enough damage to stay above that damage threshold so that Storm Surge doesn't hit them. If you didn't notice last game, if you don't have a certain amount of damage done, Storm Surge is going to do significant amounts of damage over time to you. And in these team fights, especially as we get closer and closer to the final circle, you don't want that damage being put on you when you're already potentially at a disadvantage, right? If you're in the low ground, you have so many people that are potentially looking down at you.
Oh, gosh.
And that is going to be just a slightly missed build from Copper that is going to cause him to drop a little bit. But, maybe not a bad thing. As we saw, there were like 4 teams right above him, so that's not too scary. But he is going to have to be really, really careful making these builds because we see so many teams up here. Any one of them could just turn and look, be like, oh, I hear somebody building right there. I need to make sure that they aren't getting up here. I need to make sure that I maintain the advantage in this position and that they can't take it from me. So we see Ollie, we see Jack Attack. They're trying to keep quiet. They're trying to rotate as quietly, as stealthily as possible. So that is going to be damage taken onto Trixie. Sparkly 2 Princess is going to get knocked down by Ollie. And I mean, that's exactly what we want, right? We're using the cape to rotate up without, giving too much away. Oh my goodness! Bash is going to take so much damage as Bash is going to get knocked down by Ollie. This pump shotgun, again, putting in the power to the players. And this is just, it's crazy work, He's putting out that damage. That shotgun is doing its job, all right? Oh, but
Ollie
that is
flies up with no hesitation and just knocks one and then eliminates him and then does another 100 on the other guy. I mean,
yeah,
what can you ask for? It's the cape. It's so strong. It's that movement, moving around. And then again, a lot of these teams need to start rotating. That threshold is starting to maybe hurt a little bit of opponents here because you need to be at 1200 damage and above and
Ollie
building
does.
here. Oh, God. Alone. Ollie needs to get out.
Ollie needs to be really careful here because we see Minnow underneath him. We see the 6 teams that are ahead of him. And he is going to take a couple of shots here as he tries to get out, but he is flying into 7 other teams. These squads are going to absolutely be looking to get their damage up because of this threshold. We see One with only 7 damage, 16 damage above this threshold. That's not looking too good. You don't want to be too low on that threshold, and you definitely don't want to be below. One already looking below. He's going to be looking up at Melky, Kappa, and Ivori, who are looking down and firing shots at them as well. But Magic is going to take some damage here, get those shields knocked down, but he's going to try and get those back up, as Pixel is going to get the traded damage and knock Ivori. Melky's might be coming down with him, and now all that's left is Kappa for the squad wipe. But can Kappa escape? Who knows? We will see. But Kappa is gonna get some damage back on Pixel, as One is gonna try and sit here and cover his team while his team gets some healing done. Gonna go ahead and take a mini himself. And Magic is gonna kind of still be sitting there trying to get some shots out, trade out some ammo, make sure his team's all set up, and then we're gonna see. Again, we're dropping squads. Squads are dropping like flies right now. We've got a lot going on. We've got CRSD and J-Bone with Mr. Pinkie Pie kind of sitting up here, watching, looking at Blinksy and Trixatello, but Trixatello is going to go down at the hands of Ackworth, and now it's just Blinksy now. Yeah, Blinksy is going to take some damage as well, and Blinksy's going to go down completely at the hands of Foxy JJ.
This next rotation is such a struggle. You can see it here that the storm is indeed moving quite quickly. You can see that the builds are starting to become chaos. The map is slowly fading away as there's going to be nothing but walls, floors, and cones. Looking for it. You need to get the rotation in. 15 squads remaining, and the rotation is we are still on storm number 8, folks, and 21 seconds before that next rotation to come in. Foxy JJ, and you can see eliminated Copper is now down and out by Achilles, and we're still having so many more teams here. Ackworth now starting to get the rotation with their builds as well, trying not to take damage. They're low on some meds here. We gotta remember the capes are gonna be coming into play here. Need to make sure that you fly into rotation where you need to.
And the storm damage. The storm is gonna be moving really, really quickly, and it's gonna be very aggressive, right? You don't want to get caught in this storm. This storm damage is gonna be detrimental in these fights, because if you are caught out and somebody sees you, they're gonna take advantage, right? They're gonna get those shots in. They're gonna try and get you knocked out. This is the pivotal moment where you want to make sure your team, if you're here, you want to be 1, right? If you're at this point, you want to be number 1. Booba's going to take some shots, maybe not getting any damage hit, but One is still watching him, keeping an eye out. We do see a lot of people moving around. We've got, and this is a really good tactic I like to see as well, whether it's a full squad, one person is focused on editing, the other 2 are focused on getting shots in, right?
Yeah.
That way you have somebody who can just open, close, and you have the other 2 who are like shot, close, shot, close, right? This is what you want to see. You want to see that synergy going through.
And this needs to be coming here soon. As you can see, the builds and everything needs to start becoming more fluid. You might need to be more quick. You need to be reacting fast to your edits. You need to be reacting fast to the people, building as quickly as you can, making sure you're shooting correctly. There's a lot of eliminations coming up here soon, as One needs to now get out with the sprites, and the storm again closing more and more. 11 squads remaining, building with metal. This is where you save your metal for, but you need to make sure you have enough, meds, pots, everything here. Minnow now going to be eliminated as well from Aquatavius, and slowly but surely they're trying to find their way through the chaos as the Hydras are now in this corner. Superstar flying up with the Crow, trying to get this high ground onto Ollie Boy as they are trying to build in quickly and fast for this new rotation. Looking for it. There's nothing but chaos. Your teammate is eliminated easy. Now Superstar is just building and building, getting on out and looking for anything, but again, doesn't know what to do really. Kind of stuck in this corner, and his teammate Superstar is taking a lot of damage. The Crow needs to fly out, but is boxed in and still now comes out on top, but shot from Pumped in the back, and that's going to be eliminated from Superstar, out from One.
And that's going to be Pixel and One making sure that they get the cleanup there. But we still see so many people going down. Superstar's gone down. J-Bone's going down, right? Elvis and Magic and One and Pixel, they are fighting to make sure that they are staying where they need to be, right? They're getting these picks. They're getting these catches, right? Now they're pushing into Foxy JJ, and Foxy JJ is fighting to keep them out. They're boxing them out of of their area, but it might not be enough. Foxy JJ has taken so much damage that if anybody else looks at him, it might be over.
It might be over. This may be towards the ending. Magic Sucks gets Lucifer, and now there goes Lucifer down, and now that's more mats, that's more, but shot from the backside, and you need to make sure you don't get knocked from here. There's so much. One low on health using the med, but the storm is indeed moving. Magic Sucks using his own, and you can see Grizzlies are taking the high ground in the top. They're playing the high ground, but again, like I said, when you're below and underneath, you are also hidden. So many eliminations coming out. Only 6 squads remaining here towards our final circle, and we're going to be on our last rotation here soon.
And we see Achilles is low, right? Elvis is low. He's taking some damage. King Kyle is doing pretty good. He's got some good health on him. You see One taking a lot of damage right now. One may not make it through this all the way, especially if Achilles sees him pushing up here. We see how close they are, right?
Oh
all these teams are within such close range. One's gonna get seen and gonna get taken out, right? That's what we were worried about. One had so little HP and he was rotating up, but that team was right next to him. And we see Magic. We see Magic trying to keep it going, trying to keep it together as One goes down, as Foxy JJ goes down. We see Alley Boy with, this is a full squad, right? Aguatavius, Star, and Alley Boy are all still together. They're still alive. We still see them trying to keep the momentum going. We've still got this little circle going. The storm isn't fully closed just yet. We're getting there, though. We are in the last circle. There's Star. Ooh. Condog just went down.
Ollie Boy, you can see that they're going to be trying to med. They're trying to out-heal this. King Kyle and them are looking for anything. They need to shoot their way through here. You need to make sure you have some heals, as Lasna is indeed healed out.
Aguatavius is going to be taking a lot of damage from this storm. 10 HP.
And that's it right there.
And that's going to be it. And that leaves Achilles and King Kyle and Elvis as our Victory Royale squad. What an intense end game, right?
Yeah, what an intense one. And this one wasn't down to the heals. This one was down to an elimination. And you can see those final squads, they understood, hey, last game ended in a heal off. Let's not let that happen. If we don't have the heals, we're going to take the fight to them. A lot of crow rotations, a lot of sky basing, and then a lot of drops coming in. And you can see how that turned out.
I mean, yeah, Achilles and King Kyle, they were putting out damage, right? We saw them take on One. We saw a lot of things happen all at once. There were so many fights, and that's the real danger of being in the bottom of those builds, right? We saw people get eliminated because they didn't realize how low their health was and that they were stuck in that storm. And so they just, were eliminated by the storm itself, even with medkits in their inventory, because they didn't realize. Yeah. Right? It's one of those things where, again, it's about timing, but you also have to make sure you're paying attention. If you're stuck in a build that isn't yours, you have to make sure you're being mindful not only of your own HP, but of how long it's going to take you to break through those builds, right? You don't want to be caught in a build that's not yours, trying to break metal in the middle of a storm that's tanking your HP every few seconds, and then, ending up with no HP left and your squad's down.
You end up becoming a multitasker. You need to do damage. You need to make sure that you're building, you're getting mats. And the problem is that, if you don't realize, like, hey, let's just stay hidden. It's not no, we can't stay hidden. We need to do damage. And also we need to get heals. We need to keep refilling our resources, because that's what ends up happening. The more dominant teams in the end are going to start getting more aggressive when you least expect it, and trying to find those hidden teams. They're going to be mining. They're going to be putting on the pressure. They're going to be AR spamming through those floors and making sure that they get their fill of resources, making sure they refill on wood, the metal, all of it, ammo, even the big pots, even the meds, So it's a rough one. It's a rough one, but hey, that was game 2, folks. And, we're going to send it to a break. We'll be right back at the desk here right after this here with game 3.
Which I'm really looking forward to. Game 3 is going to be very, very exciting. But it is something that I'm really looking forward to, because, we've already had one heal off, right? And now we've had one actual fight, which, to be fair, technically, he did die to storm, right? But it was after that initial contact, that initial combat, that he didn't have enough HP, that he went down. But, I'm really excited to get into game 3, which will happen right
Right
after this
after
break.
this.
So we will see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back. We are jumping straight into match 3. As you can see, we are starting out on Shark's team. This drop is going to be the final drop of the day, so I'm very excited to see how this goes and get this ball rolling.
Yes, indeed. And we are indeed back. And just a heads up, folks, this is not the last drop in total just for today. Don't worry, we have 3 more tomorrow. So come back tomorrow. Do not worry at all. We still got more. And we will look at the schedule at the end of this match, of course, right after that. But if you were there watching in between the leaderboard, we have, quite some good placings. Irvine taking that first place of the Kraken Red and Fall Purge Dragons for second place, Wellington third, and we got many, many more still in that top 8. And we still got more matches. We still got 4 more to go. I'm so excited to watch more Fortnite. Aren't you right? Isn't that right, Soda?
I am ecstatic to watch more Fortnite. Already, we can kind of see the teams all kind of picking up roughly the same kind of equipment. We've got some ARs here. We've got some pump shotguns on the other side. Everybody's just kind of doing the early game stuff where they're clamoring for materials. They're trying to get loadouts. They're trying to get some healing stuff. Gonna get some meds. It's really what the important thing is, to be honest. But we're seeing maybe some potential infighting here at Lone Wolf Lair. We've got Titles, Mixed Small Fries, and Kai all kind of trying to stay together, but also trying to stay out of the limelight. Don't want to get caught out, especially in this building, because this is a weird building. This manor is a little bit awkward to move around in, but I mean, overall, it's not the worst place to get mats, right? There's a lot of brick, there's a lot of wood to be had. There's not a ton of metal in that area, but it's not terrible.
Oh, and already our first elimination, Motion Gino knocked, and there he goes. Wow, and Motion Gino was one of our players that we were watching quite a bit in that last match. And while we're still in the the mining and the looting phase, what's one thing that I think teams that got eliminated out from the previous game is, of course, that Storm Surge and the Storm rotation. You got to make sure that you're on the front end of it, but you're also not over rotating, because then if you're on the other side of the circle, then you have to move back if it's on the opposite side of where the old one was. So got to remember, just stick around in the middle, I think. But of course, being in the middle, you are a target. So what do you think, Soda?
I think you're right. I think positioning and rotations, those are going to be important. But again, that Storm Surge is something we really want to focus on, because it was something that knocked quite a few people down last match, where they took a lot of Storm Surge damage and they just weren't able to recover before, other teams took advantage of the low health that they had. So, I mean, here at Flooded Frogs, we saw a lot of people running around each other, trying not to get caught out by each other, but also trying not to take too much damage while roaming around. We see that Sage's team is kind of just doing the thing where they're trying to rotate a little bit early, make sure that they're not, too far on one side of the map while also gathering materials. They're trying to gather items, they're trying to loot things
No.
up. Oh, it's time for a squish sacrifice, potentially.
No.
What are we looking at here? Are we gonna...
A lot of eliminations still happening in the front here, but you can see it now. Oh, I think it's just, yep, getting more and more movement, of course. Yep, but a lot of eliminations still happening, early fights, of course, and we're going to see some of these teams start exiting at the beginning, but you can see a very big spread amongst all teams, so a good variety, a bunch, but a couple of shots coming in, and
and that is going to be Lowe's team.
Yeah,
Gone. Down for the count. Tronics, Cade, Low, gonna be down. We just saw that team too around Flooded Frogs, trying to get good angles, trying to get good positioning, but it just wasn't enough. It's one of those things where sometimes you just can't get the upper hand, and that's okay. It happens.
Pancake Ninja, what a great name, but Pancake Ninja unfortunately leaving the lobby as well.
We
Now,
see
the boss fight. Yep.
Luna is taking on this boss fight, but his team's a little far back, so I'm a little worried about how much damage and noise this is going to cause.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So, because it is a lot of noise, because you've got all the NPCs kind of fighting you, as well as the explosion from the actual boss itself. So you really want to be careful when you're taking on those kinds of things, especially when your team is further away, because if another team swoops in, it could spell disaster.
Pancake Ninja is indeed back from the reboot, or maybe rezzed, I think is what happened. I think Pancake was only knocked. But, one of the things that you also have to think about are reboot bans as well. I mean, your team, you lose a teammate, and you could get that reboot card and come back. So, a lot of things to think about here in this early game, If you want to get knocked down and out, if you lose a teammate, you want it to be towards the earlier start of the game instead of the end to make sure that you can maybe possibly bring them back. But here we are with Zoro, and Squigs is mid. And AG fetch, but some really good loot here. Got a couple of things here, and I think those are.
And Clark is getting looked at,
Ooh,
but Zoro's going to take a shot from behind from Frosty, and Frosty's going to make this very aggressive play. Zoro's going to try and box himself out and kind of make a grand escape
with that surfboard. Yeah,
with that surfboard
running out, but could be some fighting here as Zoro trying to pick around this corner, needs to heal up, but teammates are indeed falling down. Squigs, unfortunately, eliminated, and Zoro now knocked out. AG Fetch, you are the last man remaining. Can you do anything here? Clark is putting on the pressure. There's a lot of pressure from all sides. AG Fetch, eliminated.
Is going to go down. That wasn't good. That was a good try. Trying to get that built, trying to get that square built up so you can kind of get up that tower a little bit to be able to use it as cover while you jump up onto the zip. But it just wasn't enough because he had 3 angles that were all focused on him. So it's just one of those things where, unfortunately, sometimes you have great plays. Sometimes those plays don't end up the way you wanted to do. So,
yeah.
But it is going to be 3-4 downs at this time, and Xeno's going to go down. Drox is also going to go down, and we're going to see Pancake Ninja go down yet again.
And
but Valen is trying really hard here to make sure that he can try and get to his team, but also not get caught out himself, because we do see a lot of fighting up there. Ash is going to go down. Valen's going to try and keep the fight here and try to keep himself secluded just enough to get some movement back with that Sprite. He's going to try and get out here.
Out and running out. Not trying to take that fight, but you got to think about the cards again. So the question is, are you going to go back for them? Probably not, as One gets an elimination on Bash. A couple more fights going around, all aboard. And a new circle coming in, and this is rotation number 2, 3, I believe. But yeah, as these teams slowly but surely start condensing together, and you need to start getting a little more aggressive to make sure that that storm surge cutoff, you don't get caught by it.
Exactly. And Chubbs, we see a lot of teams starting to get a little closer together. Not too close, but close enough to where you're going to have to really start watching your flank a lot more and trying to force cover behind you. But we see Tatum and Ichigo are the ones alive. Bash has been knocked out, and Ichigo is watching One and Pixel here, trying to get an angle. Might fire off a shot or two, but he might just hold his position because we do see Magic kind of joining in here. But Pixel kind of coming into sight a little bit more. I don't think Ichigo wants to give away his position right now. I think right now he's just kind of keeping an eye on things, trying to get the information that his team's going to need, especially since it's just him and Tita.
This is just like the predator, just like watching the prey. I mean, you're just waiting for them to slip up that one moment. But, as that subsides, we're looking at a little bit more other teams here. And you can see all the knocks already. Wow, all the eliminations.
Yeah, I feel like we haven't seen a whole ton of Supernova Academy today, but I feel like there haven't been many teams dropping over there. I think every time we've seen the drops, it's been like 1 or 2 teams
Yeah.
kind of falling over there, which I'm kind of surprised by because Supernova is a really good POI this season. So I think it would be, I would think that it'd be more people, but I mean, Utopia City is one that we kind of expected to have a lot of people going to.
Oh.
So I'm not, I'm not surprised. We do see Foxy taking some shots here. Just barely avoiding them, but Easy not so lucky,
Yeah, taking a little bit of damage, but running up. Nonetheless, Superstars team, Foxy JJ, of course.
And this is kind of what I was talking about too, right? Like you have the team in front of you, but you also know for sure you have a team on your flank. So you really don't want to leave your flank open when you're actively trying to fight another team. That's something you have to be aware of. You have to be mindful of.
Oh, and
because it
maybe
can
a
spell
drop.
disaster. So Diamond, Shark, and J-Bone getting dropped on top of, but this tower that they've got going is really good for them. And that is going to be an edit down. Shark is going to take some damage, but ultimately is going to go down. Diamond and J-Bone trying to get the angle here, but Clark is going to push J-Bone and get J-Bone knocked down. Clark getting some damage off. Frosty's trying to make this play here against Diamond, but Diamond is trying to make the counter play, but he is going to ultimately get knocked down. And that is going to be Shark, J-Bone, and him out of this match.
Out of that, and we will see them tomorrow because that was the last game for today. And you got Squid on the Squid game, and looking for that surfboard, trying to swim on out of here, looking for in Utopia. And there's no other squads here in Utopia right now, so I don't know if they're doing some late looting or they're going for the reboot. That's what it is. They're going for the reboot right now. Godly's going to be coming back, and hey, you know what? Like I said, rather lose your teammate earlier on, and of course that shield bubble coming down to make sure nothing going to be happening to good old Mr. Strawberry.
Getting the double onto the reboot van to get that reboot up just a little bit faster. Going to be really big for them. This is going to be something that is going to make a lot of noise, though. So any teams that are close enough to have that kind of sound indicator pop up may look to kind of watch this area. But I don't know about rotating back because that is so close to the storm. They may just watch from inside the current safe zone and kind of keep an eye on any rotations inward. But we are going to see King Kyle, Achilles, and Elvis, who were our winner from last match, kind of start to push in a little bit here. We do see the floodgate is, it's not super congested. There are a couple people here, but it looks like they might be on the island above. So that's going to give them a little bit of an upper hand because they are so much higher in the sky. Anybody who is up on those islands is going to have like a direct view down. So anybody on the ground is going to want to be really careful. But we are going to come straight into Lacuna's POV, and it looks like they are either in the middle of a fight or are kind of getting an angle on another team that's rotating up, as we just saw Straticus is down on the hillside there with his team kind of rotating over, trying to get across that river. There was a team behind as well. It looks like they're kind of in the perfect little spot to get a good angle on both sides without necessarily being in too much danger themselves.
Yeah, that is that Rocky Mountain team in 8th place currently right now. And, had a little scary moment there, but playing to their builds, and they are indeed surrounded by quite a bit of people. So looking a little spooky for them. Star and Aguatavius and Alley Boy.
Ooh, they are walking right by another team right here, too. I don't know if you guys can see on the mini map right here. There is a team right beside them, and Aguatavius is going to take a little bit of damage as this rotation goes into full swing, and they try to make this play straight into the safe zone.
Right,
which is good. That's what you want, right? You
absolutely.
In these early sides, you kind of want to get into the zones as quickly as possible, because if you wait too long, then it's just going to be super congested, and you don't want to be, the last person into a full lobby of people.
Yeah. And then what ends up happening is that you start to find the other teams who are also late to the party. So then you're fighting, and now you're stuck in storm, and it's a whole mess. And Bash right there. Knocked out and out of the game. But look at here, Gearzoid, and look at, they're building like a porta fort essentially here, like their own version of it. And you can see somebody just practicing their edits there behind. Good old, just Jay, you know what, man? Get the practice in now. Why not?
I mean, it's one of those things, right, where I said earlier, you really want to have the most advantageous position, right? And sometimes if you can't get it, you make it.
Yeah.
So that's the really good thing about build mode is that, there's not always the option to have really good vantage points, but you can always make them.
Some of the benefits of build mode, yeah.
And Blinksy is going to be up here trying to maybe regroup, but definitely just trying to get away from the team that just kind of followed him up here. So he's going to hit those slurp cans and he's going to kind of position himself over across the way. But we have some vision. And that's going to be 54. That's a lot of damage coming out on top of whoever's down there. And that other fort, kind of trying to keep an eye, but that... He thought he got out. He did. You saw that? He thought he was gone.
Thought he was gone, yeah.
Thought he was safe.
And I mean, Trixatello has this, has that mythic DMR, and they're trying to get shots with it out. Actually, they may not be a DMR, but still, even that mythic doing a lot of damage. 56 2 shots. Your shield is gone essentially. Yeah, that is the DMR. Yeah, looking in, and you see just hip firing it out, and the ADS on this thing is disgusting.
Beast.
Yeah, it's a beast.
beast.
It's gross. Yeah.
No, this is one of those guns where it's like you want to play your distance for sure because it's got more benefit with it. You don't have to be up close and personal, but that is gonna be a lot of damage on the Trixa. That's scary.
That's super spooky.
Getting shot at from when you're at the highest vantage point you can be from somebody who's below you, terrifying.
Yeah, because now you're scared. They understand. Oh, now they know I'm low, and their shot is really good.
But we are going to jump into Ollie Otter's team right now with Jack Attack
with the vending
and
machine.
Beetle, where they've got the vending machine on lock. They said, this is our vending machine. We're feeling a little peckish. We need a snack kind of deal. And they just heard some rotations on their right here. So they're kind of keeping an eye on that. We can see on our side, there's like 4 teams on every corner, but they are going to try and fire some shots into Minnow's team. Minnow, Sleuth, and Trevor kind of trying to just fight back the best they can, kind of rebuild what's going down, but they are going to take some damage from Ollie Otter, which is not going to be great. You really don't want to take those shots while you're trying to rebuild your fortress. It is just not ideal because you want to try and keep yourself at full HP while also keeping your base as locked in as possible. Minnow using this little corner window to really try and get the angle in. Trevor and Sleuth going to be back here trying to kind of figure out where people were. They were like, where'd those shots come from? Are we for sure that they are only over there? Because we do see another team up on top of that mountain.
Yeah.
It's looking down at them, which is also not where you want to be.
You can see the scatter amongst everywhere. I mean, Godly here going to be dropping it on here with the Sparkly Princess and Squid and Mr. Strawberry trying to fight it out and looking for it. They're a little bit spread amongst the entire map, but I mean, they might be squished upon because, like I said, if you're one of those last teams that are rotating in, you will find the other teams that are there. So you can see it now, and the Storm Surge is starting to become settling in. So you need to make sure you do some damage. Sparkly Princess, you might be getting some unexpected company here, but Mr. Strawberry Squad getting a little bit unexpected company themselves from the top side here. And
Ghoul gonna go
just
down.
eliminated right into it, and looking for more as Mr. Strawberry building up in the storm and needs to get out. That damage is going to be quite hard.
Yeah, there is some worry there because they are still below that threshold. They're going to want to get some damage out on some of these players. Godly and Squid kind of trying to push Princess here because she, they're kind of in a weird position. There's all 3 of them are kind of trying to push this in, but Sparkly's trying to get out. Sparkly firing some shots back, getting that build up, trying really hard to separate themselves, but it is ultimately going to be to no avail as they are going to go down, but Sparkly Princess 2 is going to be looking down from above as Sparkly tries to get to their counterpart, but may not be able to as that shield bubble goes down from Godly, and they are watching. They are watching that spot. They are waiting. Storm Surge has activated, so any teams below that threshold are going to start taking damage as we see as Godly is going to go down from that surge damage. Strawberry already lost all their shields, now at 75% HP. They need to be careful. This storm damage is not to be trifled with.
Sparkly could clutch this. I mean, with the Storm Surge damage, they're going to be weak. So maybe knowing this, you're down 2 teammates, but it's not like losable here. So maybe Strawberry, you see Strawberry's trying to get the damage in, and that's a 1v3 from Mr. Strawberry Squad eliminated. Sparkly 2 Princess. Wow, what a turnaround.
And that's exactly what we were talking about, right? That's the concern that is very adamant with Storm Surge damage. If you are below that threshold, it will come back with a vengeance, right? If you are below that threshold, it will start to pick away at your HP, and you will ultimately, even if you were in the winning position in a fight, you'll lose that advantage. You'll lose that advantage so quickly.
Yeah.
But we do see here King Kyle is watching Blinxy's team, keeping an eye on them, trying to make sure that they can't get away from them, as Sad Barracuda's team is going to be trying to keep their position kind of locked down and really trying to get as much done as possible, using this metal to their advantage, trying to maintain as much strength in their build as possible.
Uh-oh. Here they come. You can see multiple people surrounding them. You can hear the edits. You can hear it all. And Sleuth and the squad. Now, it might be a 3-triple party, but you want to keep your builds. But Trevor, oh no, caught in the spam and needs to get out of there. Runs back to Minnow, but they know that he's going to be falling. Minnow needs to find a way. Sleuth needs to come down. Heals are coming out, and we need a resin, but we can't. You may just need to lead Trevor and get out of this fight because it did not turn in your favor. But the storm is now in, and you are taking damage from all sides. They're trying to rotate through into that circle, but there may be nothing left for this squad.
No, it's really unfortunate when, again, you really, I know I've emphasized this a lot, but you really have to be mindful of where the storm is. The last thing you want as these teams is to be in a position where you're going to be really good, really well off, and then getting caught in that storm in mid-fight. Look, we just saw Mongoose go down. Now Speed is pushing up, being a little more aggressive. They've got these capes, right? They're going to try and continue pushing up and being aggressive as they can. They're going to try and get these advantageous positions. They're going to try and get these vantage points because at the end of the day, they want to be able to have the easiest rotation. And in order to have the easiest rotation, you really want to be at the highest point if you have these cloaks. I mean, we see Frosty, Clark, Vaxify getting shots fired at them from Golden's team. Golden, Lacuna, Skib, all trying to get these shots down, but we have to still be aware of the Storm Surge. That Storm Surge is coming back in soon. They have to get some damage out. There's another team directly underneath. Kirk, Straticus, Lemon, they're pushing that too. You know, it's a lot going on all at once. All these teams are rotating all at once. They're trying to get these builds. They're trying to get these towers done. They're trying to lock themselves down without, you know, fully locking themselves down. They want to have the opportunity to be able to leave, so they're trying not to fight where they can. Alley Boy, Aguatavius, they're all pushing down. Hook was going to take so much damage from the people up on that hill.
Yeah, and this is the Grizzlies' problem. If you start firing at every squad is going to look at you. So you need to use some of these heals, and you are indeed down a little bit out of mats. I think you may need to lose this position sooner or later and try to find your refills on the mats and also the heals. So down to our 7th rotation of the Storm, and there's still 19 squads with 51 people. And you can see the builds. They're going to start maybe bridging themselves on through, and you can see the next circle here. It is completely in the storm, so you need to think about this rotation here soon.
Another point to make is that when you are doing those bridges like we're about to see, it can be very dangerous, because if you have, you know, if the thing that you've built on breaks,
yeah,
you're suddenly done. You know, you're in the air, you're falling 600 meters.
A lot of fall
you're taking
damage.
A lot of fall damage, potentially even getting knocked out because of it. You know, we have 48 players still left in this game. There's a lot that could still potentially happen. We see that, you know, Lunan is still up. Lunan's team trying to keep an eye out, but there are so many footsteps. Wally's going to take a lot of damage here as Summer, Barracuda, and Lunan all kind of try and be aggressive, try and push up. They're going to use this surfboard and cloak to try and get out as best they can, kind of rotate around. Hope that they're not falling directly into a trap set by other people, but, you know, that's not always an option to avoid.
Yeah, and then, you know, that movement is so important indeed. You can see a couple knocks on the board, but the rotation again is coming in through. Straticus and your Lemon is indeed here, and they are indeed running with defaults. And, you know, I rock it. But hey, Kirk Doom looking in, trying to find somebody, and they may be a part of, again, this next rotation. Just got to keep rotating. Next circle.
And, you know, we see a lot of teams taking damage, a lot of people getting knocked right now. But, you know, One, Magic, and Pixel are pushing up. They're trying to get aggressive here with these teams. And, you know, we're going to see Cartier. We're going to see Mr. Six. We're going to see Speed. A lot of these teams that have been in the top ones in the last couple of matches. Ivori and Kappa are in that position where their builds got knocked. And now Kappa's taking a lot of damage. But going to turn around and put some damage back into Speed. And Mr. Six it's one of those things where you just have to be mindful. You have to know the rotation. You have to know when you can rotate.
Here it is, those sprites. Again, some of the movement in this game, you need to make sure that you can have proper rotation. And I think this team here has the next upcoming here. You gotta go move up the hill. Actually, this, and you can see, look at every squad running over now. You need to get ready for this rotation, but there might be a lot of fights happening towards this mid here.
Yeah, we see a lot of just squads fighting to get any mats they can with the limited item options that they have. But Straticus is going to take a lot of damage. He's going to get collapsed on by 2 people. And Golden going to try and get out of here. Lacuna is trying to stay alive as well. He's going to use that cloak to kind of get up and get out and get on top of these builds that other people have made. His build is going to be a little bit interesting, but he's got to be really careful because that storm damage that tick is dangerous.
Yeah, and then his teammate Lawson comes down, but you can see it here. Okay, I'm hiding in this cone. This is my safe space, and that's where we're going to be as Twitch Speedfer, excuse me, running right straight up. And here it is again, that sky base. But, you know, even if it is destroyed, I guess they do have the capes to get away for free. So now you're in the storm surge again. Got to make sure you have enough damage to get through this. There's still many teams here. 30 people still remaining, folks.
We see Une's team. They only have 2 kills or 2 limbs this round. Not terrible, but you know they have been at the top, quite a few times. You know, top 5, top 10. It's not a terrible position to be in, right? Then that's kind of what you want. If you can't get the limbs, you want to get the position. If you can't get the position, you want to at least have those limbs as a safeguard, as a safety net. And that's kind of what a lot of these teams have, right? Achilles pushing up here, but unfortunately missed that edit a little bit, so it's going to take a little bit of extra damage. They don't have any health kits.
Oh, man.
They have no health items at all.
You need to get it. Back
but Albus and King Kyle are still up, so that's not too stressful.
Wow, their whole team doesn't have any meds, actually, so they need to find an elimination here, and Devori, they get the kill, but only shield. They need some sort of, like, white health, so I don't know. I don't know what the plan is. Rory Sus comes out, pangs his watch. You can see so many teams starting to get eliminated as the condensed. Oh, it's just box fights, man.
Try and get these shots on the Sleuth, and it's gonna, you know, come to fruition. There are a lot of damage going into Sleuth. Minnow is gonna come around the corner and kind of try and push them off. Frosty's gonna get a little bit pressured off, try and get into a different area, but the shots are still coming. So they're gonna have to build and rebuild and build and rebuild. And they're trying to tunnel, but they stepped a little bit into the storm there. So gotta be careful. This is a dangerous storm. This is the end storm. The damage take is going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot. And we see here, Ollie Otter, no health, no meds.
Oh, no.
And he's going to get stuck. These are not his builds. And that's going to be Ollie Otter down.
Yeah, that rotation, you need to think about it constantly. And there's still many squads remaining here. 8 left, 16 people. That means there's a couple solos, couple duos, and maybe 1 trio still left remaining. But you can see the ticks, the damage. It is doing so much. Easy does not know where to go. He doesn't even know where he's getting shot from. So try not to get eliminated here. Needs to get up and running. And again, there's a lot of eliminations happening, and eliminations are points. So are you going to be the team that aggresses? Oh my goodness, what a position. You can see that they're just avoiding the fighting. Like this right here, Mr. Six, just doing the same thing as last time.
Yeah, but there's some concern here for sure, because Mr. Six doesn't have any health on him, right?
Yeah.
Cartier may have meds. Foxy JJ is going to go down. 2 HP. That fall damage is no joke. But unfortunately, then he is going to be a knock onto Foxy JJ because that storm damage, that storm comes quick. That storm comes quick, man. And Speed's going to jump in to kind of finish it off. Easy's going to go down. Superstar is going to go down. And that is going to be game over to Speed, Mr. Six, and Cartier. And it's just one of those games where you never know what's going to happen. But Mr. Six's team definitely chose to be the aggressor. You know, they kept the height, they kept the cloaks, and that was kind of what they used as their initiator. They saw the storm damage get taken, they saw the fall damage get taken, and then they used that as their advantage play.
And that's number 2 for them, right?
That is
number 2 for them. So
and they have won the last 2 games.
Second game that they have won, and you know, they're both in the same fashion. Hey, chaos is happening. We're gonna be building on top. And we're going to wait for everybody to eliminate each other and be very low. And then we'll fly down and just take what's rest. And again, 68 points for if you win. I believe it's 68 or 60. I think one of the two. But still,
mean, listen,
it's a lot of points.
You just got to play cleanup squad.
Yeah. And I mean, it works. You can't be angry. It's a smart play to do. You knowing when to disengage is something, you know, that's a skill that some of these top players have, that where you are not over aggressing. Understand when to stop holding W sometimes. know? So I think that's one of the greater things that Mr. Six's team does.
They did have a lot of patience. And Superstars team, honestly, fall damage is always an unfortunate way to go
Ah,
down. I know I've done it too many
yeah,
times where, you think you can make it or you're trying to make a build and your build breaks and you slip and you fall and it's over.
and it's
And
over.
it's one of those things where you're not really expecting it. You're hoping it won't happen, but I mean, all the teams competing today were incredible. They did a lot of different things. They did a lot of different tactics. And, there was just a lot going on, and it can be very stressful. It can be very strenuous, but they should feel very, very proud of themselves for making it this far, for getting to where they are. And I hope that they've had a fantastic time playing today. And I hope they're going to have an even more fun time playing tomorrow when they come back for our next 3 matches of Fortnite. So don't go too far
Yeah.
because while our final matches of Fortnite today have ended, we do have 3 more happening tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. So I will see you again tomorrow at 9 a.m. for Fortnite. But before anything else, I do want to once again thank our phenomenal sponsors for
Sponsors.
today's event.
Woo.
And that is going to be the refuel beverage of today's event, Florida Dairy. Shout out to them
Yeah.
for amazing, just beverages to keep everybody going. Because I know
Yeah.
halfway through a game you can be exhausted, but you know what gets me going? Chocolate milk.
Chocolate milk.
So
Love some good chocolate milk after a game. It's refreshing. It's cold. By the way, if you guys want to go grab it, it is indeed near the fortress. It is in that white tent that you guys saw, but kind of by the food truck area. Go in there, and there's a fridge in there with some nice cold chocolate milk. So please do go get yourselves. Again, big shout out to Florida Dairy for helping with some of our sponsors here.
And of course, we can't forget, as we're at a LAN event. You can't have a LAN event without PCs, right? Not a PC LAN event.
Yeah.
So thank you to Peripherio, the official PC sponsor of XP League North American Finals 2025. And we also, don't forget, we will be going live later. XP League will be live later with a stream. So thank you guys again for tuning in. We are so excited to be here, and we will see you tomorrow at 9 a.m.
Indeed. See you guys tomorrow
Bye.
at 9 a.m. Bye bye. Much love.